The Blackstone, endless side quests. Loading complete.
Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Blackstone Endless Side Quests. We are here once again. As you noticed, unfortunately, Kimmer has decided to abandon us for actual legit duties for some reason. So, in the end, I'm going to be hanging out with two very familiar faces. We got Kevin and we got Dekel. How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. It's been a while. So, as I said before, like life's kind of kicked us in the butt, which is why we're kind of on a sort of a mini hiatus, but we're back in hopefully full form. So today I kind of wanted to hit on, like, we talk a lot about anime, so let's go with the Funimation takeover, shutdown, sunsets, and all the digital media stuff. Kevin was just expressing to me that he really wants to talk about this. I have a lot I want to say on it, and I'm pretty sure Dekel's got his hot take as well as always. So, Kevin, let's start with you.
No. I ain't got no hot takes.
My problem is that now that Funimation and Crunchyroll are owned by the same entity, aka Sony, they should kind of delegate their digital purchases to be like, if you bought it for Funimation, we're going to transition that stuff to your Crunchyroll. If you bought it in the past, that way you could keep it. But while that transition is happening, it may look like your library is gone, but it'll take us a while because we're switching servers. We're doing this. It's just a full headache because I understand it when one company swallows another company, but it's just, to me, it's just a way of how art, call anime or any film or media art,
For sure.
that could be deleted forever. I mean, look what's going on with Warner Brothers. With right now, they're in high water with the Wild Coyote versus Acme right
Yep.
now, and I feel like media preservation should be very important because what if one day people want to see stuff that's not in Crunchyroll, but it was on Funimation and it's no longer Crunchyroll?
Right. And one of the things that they used to do, and this is so Doctor Who is a very prevalent show.
Yeah.
There are about 100 episodes missing because they used to burn all the tapes. And back then, syndication wasn't really a thing.
No.
Since then, I think they found about 10 episodes from like different countries that had copies they've digitally remastered. They found some audio things. They think some collectors might have some, but there's 100 missing episodes of Doctor Who that, unless you watch it when it's originally broadcast, you'll never see. Right?
I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I watched Doctor Who. I've been watching it since 2005. So
I grew up on it.
You probably seen them.
I've seen all the episodes that have come out that I grab on because I started
See,
watching it.
my parents are British, so I grew up with that stuff, and PBS. So where I live, I get PBS Spokane, so it's
Okay.
Kimmer's neck of the woods.
Right. Okay.
But they used to show the Doctor Who's unedited, so it was the full 2-hour story arc, because originally they were half an hour blocks. That's what a lot of people don't know. And then now they're hour-long episodes because the BBC doesn't have commercials. But PBS used to broadcast the entire arcs, and my mom used to record them on VHS. So I started with Hartnell, went all the way. The very first episode I remember watching was Planet of the Spiders, which is when the Doctor regenerates into Tom Baker, right? But
that's Patrick Tower. No, second Doctor. That's John Pertwee to Tom Baker.
No, John Pertwee. It was John Pertwee. Yeah.
William Hartnett, Tom Baker. Huh?
No, I remember watching all those, and then I watched the Sylvester McCoy one.
Awesome.
So preservation is important, but there's arcs that people will never know. In fact, the first episode of New Who, so the first Christopher Eccleston one, is actually a remake of an episode that was lost. So older Doctor Who fans are like, this has been done before. What the hell is this? It was a story, and I could be wrong, but my understanding is it was a story that was one of the episodes that's lost. Right? So going back to the preservation of anime, like with the digital media, the main problem that a lot of people are forgetting about is when Sony bought Funimation, they bought an American company. So now you have the international legalities even though they were showing Japanese properties, the licensing of distribution agreements get really muddied really fast. And so it's actually in Sony's best interest financially to just wash their hands of it. Now, back in the day when they were first starting to give the digital keys, a lot of these companies, when they folded, gave their licensing to Google because everyone seems to think Google's going to be around forever. So you have a lot of like I have a bunch of DC animated movies and a bunch of stuff that I bought that had a digital key that got transferred over. The problem is that there's no way of preserving it. Now, I don't care if the digital media say, oh, you bought this movie and we have every right to take away from it. You're paying for the storage of it. You're paying for the streaming of it. Streaming is not profitable. Okay, so it doesn't matter if it's Twitch, YouTube, Netflix. It's just not profitable, which is why you're seeing all these increases, because everyone's like, oh, shit, we're running out of money. The problem is that no one has the money to go and buy the physical copies or go to the movie theaters and watch all of the things. So you have to find a way of cutting your losses, which is why Disney does a lot of their marketing, right? So the way that TV series used to make money in the past was like, take a look at He-Man. $1 billion idea. They created a toy and then they made a TV show to promote the toy. The TV show did not come first. The toy came first. So now they're doing what musicians do. Musicians don't earn money from CDs anymore. They don't earn money from streaming unless they own their own music. But most of the music that these bands make is through the record label. So the record label makes money off Spotify. The bands don't.
Sure.
So then they go to the merch tables. If you have a good merch setup, you will make lots of money of people buying your shirts, your hoodies, your patches, all that kind of stuff. So streaming, if you go to Walmart, you will find Netflix originals physical copies. Why are they selling physical copies of a show that's theirs that they could never lose the license for? They made the show, it's theirs, will always be on their platform. Why are they selling physical copies? Because it's under the guise of, oh, if you're traveling, you can pop this in your computer or whatever. Nobody's computer has a CD-ROM or a DVD drive anymore.
Oh, it's
right?
about to look like.
So they're appealing to the people who have, right? So they appeal to the people who have the CD-ROMs in their computers, the DVD, PlayStations, that kind of stuff. But that's how they're making their money, because they've already paid for the show. So now every DVD, Blu-ray sale of that show makes them money. But they've got to be really, really careful about what they do. Now, Netflix had a monopoly and they fucked up.
Oh,
because they screwed up by asking Disney for too much of a chunk too quickly. And Disney said, nope, we're just going to do our own streaming service. And they pulled all the Disney titles off. And Disney owns a fuck ton of subsidiaries. Yeah. So you get into that, and then you throw the international waters for the Funimation Sony. This is why I'm looping back. I take a while to get to my point, but
go
to the international lines, and the fact that the Japanese have a much different copyright laws than we do. See, legally, we're not allowed to use their stuff without permission. If I were to go and take something, this is why the abridged series get in so much trouble. Say, we're not making any money off this. It's all that, right?
I remember that they used to get copyrighted every year.
Every time. But if you go to Japan, so there's an anime called Genzo Meden Sayuki. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of Sayuki. It's a pretty famous anime. Mid-2000s anime, okay? One of the openings has the guitar riff from Aerosmith's Eat the Rich.
Oh.
They were not allowed to be sued for it because the Japanese company did it, and it was in Japan. Because their copyright laws will protect the Japanese company for anything they steal. But it only goes one way. And internationally, there's no laws set up yet of sort of interborder disputes. And because the US has the fair use laws and is the biggest market, that's the one where they go, oh, copyright strikes, you have to take it down. So like you look at Universal with the TikTok stuff, like anything on the Universal music platform, gone.
That was horrible for TikTok.
Right.
And yet,
that. Right.
TikTok didn't do anything wrong. They asked politely The problem is Universal was like, you're making so much money off of our music, we're pulling out. They could not come to an agreement. But Sony and Funimation, I understand Sony's business side of things, but I also agree, like, if I paid good money for a movie and now I have no access to it, what the hell? Like, why could they not say, okay, we're going to sell the physical digital keys, like sell the license to Google or somebody who is stateside to host it so that Sony doesn't even have to worry about it. But I don't even think that occurred to them, because for anyone who's been following Sony the last year, their business decisions are questionable as fuck as to what they're doing.
Just has Xbox right now too.
Yeah.
They just going around and buying stuff and not thinking twice, and I'm just like,
Oh
Well,
I
okay,
oh,
no,
go
I
ahead.
don't know if you guys heard this, but Xbox and Microsoft removed their whole staff for physical media. I think like 3 weeks ago. And there was talks about
they
how
removed their whole staff from what?
For physical media. So producing all the DVDs, Blu-rays, hard copy games, they're gone.
Right,
and
right.
there was talk about how the Xbox exclusives are going to be sold to PlayStation and Nintendo now.
Licensed, yep.
So people are talking like, is Xbox kind of over? And they kind of are, because they're like, we make more money off Game Pass rather than producing games.
The interview that came out this week, and I don't know if you've seen, I've only seen tidbits of it. The head of Xbox said that they're not going to discontinue the Xbox. They got another console launching. So they're guaranteed to at least have an Xbox until like 2032, I think. But they want to be a predominantly software company because they're trying to reduce carbon emissions, and that's something Microsoft is very passionate about. You know, Windows 11 has carbon emission feature on it where it'll low power everything, so you're using less energy and stuff like that. They're making that business conscious decision. They have flat out said, especially after their fight with Sony, all of the games of all the companies that they're buying should be available to anyone who can play them. So if the Switch or the PlayStation can play the game, why wouldn't you want to take a percentage and say, hey, play the game on your console? Because they've been the ones from the beginning saying cross-platform, cross-platform, cross-platform. Now it makes sense for them because they have the PC market plus a console market. So they want everybody on the same page. Sony never wanted that.
Yeah, I think they were.
Yeah, Sony the one that wanted to like keep it a competition.
Fortnite.
Yep.
If I
Yeah, and then when Microsoft followed suit and they saw how easy it was and the developers were eating the cost of making it cross-platform, that's when Nintendo jumped on. When Nintendo did that, Sony decided, well, let's try it. And then with the Call of Duty thing, Microsoft's like, you can have exclusives that for 10 years. We don't care. And now the Xbox exclusives are no longer Xbox exclusives. They are whoever has access to them on whatever thing they're doing. That's what they're planning. And if you think about it, it's a brilliant decision because like, oh, this is a Xbox exclusive, but now, you know, the 50 million people that are playing PlayStation, they can now play Halo, right? When this is all said and done and everything like that. So why wouldn't you do that? And let's face it, Sony has a better console than Xbox and always has. The tech specs are always better.
I got both. I got both.
I have both.
Most console gamers do. It's only the purists who don't. And the purists are the loudest, but they make up like 2% of the gaming community, right? I was a console and a PC gamer up until PlayStation 3. And then when my kid was born, I had to make a decision to choose one. And I went PC because I could work on it and I could play games, right? So it made sense for me. But I mean, I play Diablo 4. That's cross-platform. I run into people on Xbox and stuff like that all the time. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
Right? So, but
Actually pretty nice.
Yeah. But steering back
Sometimes.
to this argument where Sony is trying to make Funimation, you know, defunct, that's fine. They're turning off all the servers in the States is all they're doing, right? Because it's a location thing. And also it's an extra cost. But they spent 2 years, 2021. So yeah, since they took the acquisition. I remember getting an email saying, "Oh, all of these things are going to leave the platform." The only thing that I could watch on Funimation that I couldn't watch on Crunchyroll that I was even remotely interested was the English dub of Dragon Ball. And Crunchyroll still does not have the English dub of Super. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think that's actually going to in Disney jail right now. I could be wrong.
Which is crazy because a lot of people was questioning that, and I'm like, "Hey, look," they asking me, and I'm like, "Look."
Well, again, it's probably a licensing thing. For all I know, Funimation had contracts that
It
they had
has
to wait till
be
they
a
waited out.
licensing thing, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
So,
remember back in the day, they didn't really like Dragon Ball. I was just tagged in this one photo, and I forgot all about it because I remember when I was younger, my my aunties and grandmas was trying to stop us from watching it because they used to be upset about how it used to get all bloody and stuff and thinking
mhm,
we finna fight each other. And I'm like, damn, I remember this.
yep.
So it got to be like a licensing thing. They don't want it in
Well,
English because they probably don't want the younger generation to like stumble across it or something. That's the only thing I
Yeah,
can think
but
of because it
I
has
mean,
been
they
like
got TikTok.
they just now adding like the movies, and the
yep.
movies are in Japanese.
Well, and that's the thing though
Literally.
too is Disney kind of learned a very real lesson when they bought Marvel and Lucasfilms. Nerds will pay through the nose to get the fuck what they want.
That is
They're the heaviest, most reliable source of revenue you could ever hope for. This is one of the reasons why Netflix fucked up with The Witcher as soon as they lost Henry Cavill. Instead of getting rid of the showrunner, they got rid of the
Oh yeah, no,
star,
they lost big.
right?
They got rid of.
So, season 3,
Yeah.
it had really good ratings, and then when it gets to the last episode, it drops because most people didn't even want to watch the last episode because they're like, "Oh, this is the last time we're gonna see him. I don't even want to know."
I actually didn't even finish season 3, and
Yeah,
I plan to finish it. Oh,
but
I stopped because I'm like, I stopped because they're like, oh, Henry Cavill is leaving. I'm like, then what's the point but, like, I signed up for the leading man,
yep,
and the only time I gave a show forgiveness for the leading man leaving was for Spartacus because the main actor died
yep.
after the first season. Then
Well, he
everyone
didn't
else took
die.
over,
He
and
he
I'm
he
like,
was very sick. He died
I
just before season 2 finished.
okay, yeah, because he can't
But
do season 2.
well, no, he
Uh,
he did season 1, and then they did the
season 1 or
prequel,
both of them.
and then they did the prequel hoping he was going to beat, was it lymphoma or something he had, leukemia? I forget what he had, and then he beat it, and they're like, okay, we'll start recording season 2 in 4 months or 6 months, so you get him back healthy, and then it came back, and he said, please just do the show without me. He said, I don't know if I can come back. Don't wait for me. And that's why they changed actors. And to me, like, I like both of the actors, but I mean, the first Andrew was just, he is a unique guy.
It was amazing.
But that's the thing though, too, is when you change stuff like that and people don't understand the reason, it's ridiculous.
Because the thing is, we're in the zeitgeist to know this stuff.
Right.
People will be like, oh, okay, Henry Cavill's here. And then when they watch next season, they're like, what happened to Henry Cavill? Quick Google search. Oh, he left
Mhm.
because he kept butting heads with the producer. Well, I signed up for Henry Cavill, not for
Yep.
Hemsworth. I'm not gonna watch
Yep.
it.
And this is the lesson that Netflix learns and then forgets 10 minutes later. You look at live action One
Yep.
Piece,
Every
really,
single time.
really fucking good. You look at live action Yu Yu Hakusho,
And the
what the
Avatar.
fuck? I haven't
Oh,
touched Avatar yet.
they
Me neither. But I've heard
I heard
so
some
much bad stuff
stuff,
about it. I'm scared. No, I'm
and
scared. I'm not even
how
gonna lie. I was
people
looking forward to it, but I've seen so much negativity, and it's not even on no they hating it like just the hate. It's what they saying, and I know they not lying because it's live action.
Yep.
here's my thing. If you're a producer for a show, don't just be like, just when it comes out, watch it. It's gonna be as faithful as we can. Don't mention any storyline or
Yep.
plot point. If you
The
change it, people will be pissed.
the other two things is they said, okay, we're not going to have Sokka be a pervert anymore because he's going to be more mature. I'm
That's his
like,
whole story arc. That's his
yeah.
whole thing.
And then they're like, oh, we don't want it to be too violent, so we're not going to have the War of Ba Sing Se, which is like the most important thing of the entire fucking story. Like, if you guys are going to do an adaptation and you're going to get rid of that, Why didn't you just do Legend of Korra instead? Oh wait, you can't. It's because she ends up being a lesbian at the end. Oh my god, scary.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. It's just
So-
it's the same thing. It's like you say, Netflix learned a lot.
Yeah.
To Sony when gonna make a Spider-Man film that's a Spider-Man Jason film that's not Spider-Man. I'm like, Sony, you keep learning the wrong lessons.
Well, and that's just it. Sony has really screwed up Spider-Man. Like, this is another licensing thing that we were talking to. I'm glad you segued into it. Like, so when Venom came out, I was like, okay, for a standalone film, it's all right. Is it fantastic? No, it's all right.
No,
Then they said we're gonna do Carnage, and I went yes, because Carnage was my favorite Spider-Man comic growing up. The original Maximum Carnage, one of my all-time favorite storylines. It's an hour and a half movie with an actor who plays nothing like Cletus Cassidy. And Spider-Man's not even there to fight with Venom. That was the whole fucking point.
and my thing to
Oh.
Harrison, he's okay,
Wait,
but you know,
wait.
with a perfect Cletus Cassidy,
Wait.
the guy who played Rorschach, Watchmen.
They're
he had the-
they're both really good, but they're both too old.
yeah, that's the unfortunate
I
part.
didn't know that.
Cletus
Yeah.
Cassidy is much.
I'm glad that you said something because
they're younger
I
than
still
Eddie.
I was
I
meaning
don't
to
like
watch
they
that.
introduced
Yeah.
Spider-Man to him the game.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
hell,
see-
that's what I wanted to see.
No, see, Maximum, like the There Will Be Carnage. I looked at him like, this movie's only an hour and a half. How can you tell even part of the Carnage story in an hour and a half? And in my brain, I'm like, they're talking about doing like the Sinister Six, and maybe they're leading into that.
okay.
And oh my god! And like, have you seen the
Can I
trailer
talk
for
about
Draven? It
Draven?
looks
I
like
don't know.
fucking
Oh,
garbage.
here's my thing.
Oh my
thing.
god!
Sony since I believe 2011, no 2012, since Amazing Spider-Man, have tried and failed multiple times to create a Sinister Six project.
Yep.
They teased in Amazing Spider-Man when Amazing Spider-Man 2. Then it was canceled that franchise, and they said, "Oh, we're gonna make a kind of like a buddy cop like comedy villain story with like in its own universe."
Yep.
And then canceled it, and then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna okay, so we give the rights to license Spider-Man to Disney, but we're gonna help produce the film, and like the villains we'll keep, but anytime they want to use any character that's Spider-Man related or adjacent, Disney has to tell us,
Yep.
and we have to give approval to it. So that's why what was it? MJ is not called MJ because Sony didn't want to give her that name.
Yep. So if
And
you
that's-
look,
and here's my thing. Also, can I say, Ned is not Ned. He's Genki.
Mhm.
He's literally just Genki. But because Sony doesn't want to pay the rights to
Yep.
Genki, they're like, bad.
well, see, here's the thing. Ever since Sony got the rights to Spider-Man, okay, let's start where you started at 2011. Okay, name one project that was done by a third party that isn't good. So you look at the Spider-Man games of recent years, you look at the Marvel Spider-Man interpretations and adaptations, you look at anything that has come out that was not done by Sony but licensed by Sony. It's good because they understand Spider-Man. You look at anything Sony does in-house and it's fucking garbage because they don't know what they're doing.
It's like kind of sort of the same formula, like video game
and
formula. that's
They
been
have a
used.
recipe for
And it's
printing
like,
money. Disney, here is our terms for all of our Spider-Man properties. Have at her, give us a cut, we'll sit back and just collect a paycheck.
Yeah.
That's all they had to do.
And what I
it's
like,
so fucking
the anim-
slick.
also I will say their animation side is actually really good. To Sony, their animation side is really good.
Oh, yeah.
Action side, it's
But the animation is a separate animation studio. It's produced by Sony. It's not, it's like the Spider-Man games. You know, they're involved because they wanted to be a PlayStation exclusive, but the game itself was designed by a third party, right? And they do really, really well. It's Sony Sony is so strange because they were at the top of the world, the top of the game for so fucking long, and something happened where they just don't get it. And they're not even trying to like relive the past. They're not doing a nostalgia thing like Disney is,
I think
where
they
some
got
of the stuff.
comfortable.
I don't know what it is.
For the
They
Spider-Man,
got comfortable.
you know why? There's one man who's behind it all, who approves most Spider-Man projects, and it's not Amy Pascal. It's the one who's had the rights to Spider-Man since '90s, since Sony bought them. You want to guess who that man is?
Mm,
Uh, uh,
no, got no names.
Avi Arad.
Really?
He has, yes, he's the one. If you look at all the credits, any Spider-Man related stuff, it's him. He has control in the Spider-Man plot. Because originally Spider-Man 3 back in 2007, originally the villain was always supposed to be Sandman, but Avi Arad said add Venom because he's a popular villain. Nobody knows who Sandman is. We got that catastrophe.
I've always said about that movie, they could have done it if they'd actually played to Sandman the way that Tom Holland's Spider-Man did. Because then it could have been Venom is becoming the menace, but Spider-Man has to stop Sandman before he can turn. And then you end on that and do a Spider-Man 4 where it's Spider-Man versus Venom. Right? You could have built that up. But because they tried to cram both of them in, right? Like, I like Jamie Foxx, but I hate him as Electro. He doesn't have the personality for it.
That was
They did redeem him,
Um,
but again, that's proper direction and story writing, right? Jamie Foxx
Yeah.
is a fantastic actor, but you watch The
that
Amazing
wasn't him,
Spider-Man
though.
2.
That
No,
wasn't.
but again, I didn't like him in it because of the way that the writing was. It didn't suit him. When you have a
Yeah.
specific actor in mind to play a certain part, you do have to alter the writing to make it work for that actor. You know, like there are talented actors who can disappear into into characters and stuff like that, but they're few and far between. And let's face it, American actors in particular aren't method actors. They're not stage actors, right? They're Hollywood superstars. So you have to make those changes. But at the same time, you look at all of these horrible movies, like you look at Thor Love and Thunder. Horrible, awful, awful, awful movie, right?
They give too much to Taika Waititi, unfortunately.
Well, Ragnarok was such a hit, but when the other two were so garbage, it's not hard to make a Thor movie a hit. The problem is he
No.
leaned too much,
The comedy route.
and then he wasted Zeus.
No, he also wasted God the God Butcher.
Yeah,
Gore the God Butcher.
yeah.
Because I've read that run by Jason Aaron, and holy crap, it involves time travel, lots of gods dying. And when I read that, I'm like, oh, and they're bringing Mighty Thor. I'm like, great. So we're gonna maybe get some time travel elements. Jane's gonna get her cancer. She's probably gonna be an Avenger. Now they kill her off. Thor as a daughter, and he's like, well, I'm a dad, and Eternity's in it. Cool to see Eternity, but it's not important. It's just like,
Yep.
well, nothing matters but love.
And that's the problem with the current state of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Team 4-Star did a ranking of all of the Marvel stuff a couple weeks ago on their Saturday commentary channels they do, so check them out. They're fantastic.
I'm stumped too.
But the current state of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is they're trying to do too much without having, pardon the pun, an end game. They don't have a final stone to end the chapter, end the book, and then start the next step. They're just trying to mish everything together. It's pissing me off.
Well, Phase 4 was, from what I remember when they announced it back in 2019, was the experimental phase. And then they said Phase 5 would be the lead up to the their new end game.
Well, they're trying to do Secret Wars, but they are missing the mark so bad.
Look, Secret Wars can work, but and that's why I think they're revamping much more of their stuff. Bob Iger came back. Even I got to admit what he said. You put out too much. You got quality, you got quantity, but not enough quality.
Yep.
That's
Well,
basically it.
it's
And
like
I'm a
the
big Marvel guy. I will lie. When COVID came, when we got the Marvel shows, I'm like, great, I get to see Marvel stuff like once a week. Any Spider, I'm like, if you're a casual viewer, you have to watch phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 with all the TV shows. And now with the Netflix shows now back to canon, you're gonna have to watch those shows. And now you got phase 5, you got Ant-Man 3, which not many people like. Mind you, I thought it was okay. But
well, the Ant-Man movies are always okay. The problem is that they don't know how to use Paul Rudd, and they don't know how to write Ant-Man.
no. Ant-Man should be street level.
Ant-Man should be street level,
Yeah.
and because of the universe that is already established, he's not a character who should have solo outings.
No. It should be team ups.
Ant-Man and the Wasp was the first kind of basic step of that. But again, they don't know how to write female characters. Having said that, I quite enjoyed the Marvels, but not for the reason that I should have.
I enjoy the Marvels because Iman Vali plays a fantastic Miss Marvel.
She does. And I quite agree with her when she said, they need to bring back the fans to the MCU. They need to find the love of the MCU. The problem is, excuse me, is they're also trying to do the Young Avengers. Just like DC is trying to do Young Justice. And they're trying to do too much without actually having a solid plan. If like the way things are right now, if I was Marvel, I'd be like, okay, we're gonna do the Young Avengers. Okay, so do one movie about one of your younger prospects or one of your older prospects in, like, say they want to introduce Ironheart properly, and I say properly because the Black Panther is great movie, but yeah,
Ironheart, give or take.
see, but
no offense to actors, but
it wasn't well written at all.
No.
They fumbled that. The problem is because they're trying to introduce Ironheart after Tony Stark died. The whole reason she became a superhero is because she looked up to Iron Man. He was retiring because he was broken, and he teaches her how to be a superhero.
actually, no. He got helmeted by Captain Marvel in Civil War 2, unfortunately.
Really?
And and she got the AI, the blue spur for Tony Stark. Because I have that run for Invincible Iron Man.
What the hell was I reading then? I don't know. But either way, like,
no, she worked with Tony for like a page with her bulky suit. But then when she got her new suit, it was a gift from Tony Stark because he kind of did the Spider-Man thing.
Yep.
Before I think it was around the time. Yeah, it might have been around the time. So maybe Michael Bendis got the idea from them, or they got the idea. Either way, Civil War was happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they made Civil War 2, and that sword is garbage. The art fantastic, story-wise garbage. It character assassinated Captain Marvel forever.
But that's another thing too. Is they didn't have the right introduction to the character, right?
No,
so what my point was to have them introduce a character with an older character, or having a circumstance where the young ones actually rise up, and then introduce other people as you go, because Kate Bishop is probably the best well-written of the Young Avengers, right?
He is.
But
she's a fantastic actress.
But at the same time too, she's also kind of old to be a Young Avenger. They're all supposed to be
Avenger?
Yeah.
Teenagers.
But at the same time too, she's a female superhero. Marvel's not going to use her because for whatever reason, comic nerds still to this day don't want female superheroes. And I don't understand why. I just want good superheroes. I don't care if they're female. I don't care if they're ninjas. I don't like whatever. Right? So like Mobius,
good superhero.
Mobius is one I'm going to shit on because that's the easiest target Marvel has. Okay. First of all, Jared Leto. Wrong.
Morbius.
Sorry. I did say Mobius.
Yeah, I'm like Mobius, but that's Owen Wilson. He's really
Yeah. No. I meant Morbius.
okay.
Um,
Okay, I'm like,
first of all, Jared Leto has talent, but he controls too much. So he ruins the story that he's trying to tell.
no, and he's a very dickish method actor.
Yeah. But that's the thing though, is if he doesn't want to do it, he won't do it. So he tries to control everything. And unfortunately, when you are playing an established character, you can't do that because
You would never
you're then ruining the character, right? So if you take a step back from that and say you put in a proper actor, now off the top of my head, I don't have anyone. All right. Morbius is one of those characters that he should never have a solo outing.
No, he should
He's not
a side villain.
a side villain, all that kind of stuff is exactly what he should have been. Same as he was in Maximum Carnage.
Well, or even better,
Yeah.
just redo the storyline what they did for Spider-Man 1994.
Yep.
That's really it.
Yep. And and that's the thing though, is if you get like Catwoman, they could easily do, but again, you could not do a solo movie. Or Black Cat rather. Sorry, I'm crossing all of my terrible ideas today. No, so Black Cat, you could do that.
They've tried to do Black Cat.
I know, and they failed.
Yeah, they failed in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Actually, they were gonna make a Silver Sable and Black Cat movie, and I'm like, barely anyone knows who Silver Sable is. I know her because
Me too.
she's a Spider-Man villain, but main audience doesn't know who Silver Sable is. But
you'd need a way to introduce her in a Spider-Man movie.
And everyone thinks, here's the thing, as much as a fan I am, I get why people get confused with Black Cat and Catwoman.
Oh yeah. Well, they're the DC Marvel ripoffs of each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that I always found fascinating is that in all of these superhero movies, the superhero women or anti-hero women who are supposed to be seductive and sexy and all that stuff aren't, because the audience is okay with it, but the studios aren't. They don't want the backlash of it. A woman is not to be allowed to be a femme fatale and a good guy. Look at Black Widow. What is the one thing she's known for in the comics that didn't even get mentioned in the MCU?
A spy, a Russian spy, a femme fatale, a secret agent. That
why is she called Black Widow?
She literally was trained in the Red Room to kill and seduce people. Well, mostly men.
She assassinated people by sleeping with them. And she was really good at it. They had the right actress, they had the right writing, but at no point did they even mention that that was what she got into trouble for, because all that read in the ledger are high political and business assassinations that she committed by sleeping with these guys and killing them. That's why she's Black Widow, because like a Black Widow spider, you kill the mate after you mate with them. And at no point did they even mention that that's why she's called Black Widow.
No, and I like Black Widow, don't get me wrong. It was an okay film. My problem was she died in the previous movie.
Mm-hmm.
I know where her story ends. So
yeah.
I'm like, what's the point? If they said it before Endgame, I'd care.
The point was they were going to do the Black Widow and then it got canceled, right? And then it sat in production development hell for a couple of years, and then they decided to do it while they were filming Endgame, but they already had a set scheduled release date for Endgame.
Actually, Bob Iger was the one who kind of stopped that project multiple times.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, because originally they pitched an idea for Netflix to do a 6-episode series,
which would have made more sense.
To be honest, I think here's my thing. My thing for tangent to Secret Invasion. This will go back to Morbius, unfortunately. My thing for Secret Invasion, that storyline. The people who kind of pitched the idea went for it. Never read Secret Invasion. They didn't care for that. They just wanted to do their own thing. My thing is with Nick Fury, don't make him an outer space guy. Make him a boots on the ground spy thriller story,
Yep.
because that's who he is. If you take him to space, you kind of lose me.
All right. Well, last comment on the Marvel thing, and then we'll trounce back to the anime there. I just want to know where both of you feel. Like, Dekel, I know you probably haven't read the comics, but as a comic book fan, Kevin, how annoyed do you feel that you have to feel sympathy for the live action Skrulls? Because every comic book person I know says there's no good Skrulls. They're all dirty and need to die.
They don't get me wrong.
As a
I get
comic
what
book
they were
fan,
going
do you
for the
feel
Marvel.
dirty feeling sympathy for a Skrull?
Yeah, because they cause a lot of shit to us. They took over the whole earth, made everyone question themselves, and that's literally Secret Invasion. They made everyone question themselves. The
Yep.
book was better than the show, and the show I gave up on 2 episodes, unfortunately, because I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
I love Samuel L. Jackson. But okay, to Morbius. Sony, their big thing with Madam Web and this whole thing, always kind of teasing Spider-Man, but then always removing him before the movie comes out.
Because they don't
And-
want they don't want to feel like they ruined another Spider-Man project. They'd rather have the
Well-
characters get ruined rather than Spider-Man himself. I'm positive they're trying to devalue the Spider-Man license so that when Disney offers to buy it, it'll be worth nothing because they'll have destroyed it.
Well, it doesn't make sense for them to devalue it because it's made them money a lot of times. Hell, what is it, the animated Spider-Man movie that came out last year? It almost made $1 billion.
Yep.
Venom, I don't know how, it made almost $1 billion as well.
Because the trailers actually made it
Everybody
look good.
was excited to see that. Yeah, everybody was actually excited to see that. That's why.
Because
They got them
Venom
with that trailer.
Venom's one of the few Spider-Man characters who could do a standalone movie.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
You could make a Venom TV show like they did with the Punisher. You could
Yeah.
do something like that.
hell yeah.
But the problem
yeah.
is, and the reason why I say that Sony wants to devalue it is because if Spider-Man's the golden goose and everybody hates everything else that's ever come out that's Spider-Man adjacent, then they're going to stop asking for it. And then they can just focus on doing Spider-Man. Because then they can do their own thing. You have to remember, a lot of these studios hate that the fans can dictate to them what to make. Like, look at Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, granted, that worked out for the better. But
It
studios
That was
don't
well
like
needed.
studios don't like being told what to do. They tell us what to view, and we should pay for it. That's their stance.
But look, they knew better to not to listen to. They knew. Look, that
They're-
shit went viral so quick. That same photo when I seen that photo floating around for literally like a year.
Hmm?
Everybody was mad. Nobody was appealed whatsoever. I'm
Most
talking about, I
downvoted
have
trailer
never
of all
seen
time.
A
Yeah,
character.
you got
I've never seen a character gets massacred the way that they tried to massacre Sonic. Like,
Mhm.
you know
oh my
the
god.
whole Sonic situation.
I think that's probably like the one case where that was like it needed to happen. I'm glad it happened because that would I could that original Sonic, if they would have released that, oh man.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I would have loved to see how they would have interpreted Tails to see how bad that was.
That probably would have fucked up.
It falls
Sonic
in-
legacy
falls into-
because they would have been.
It falls into the same category as Madam Web. It's so bad that you kind of want to see it to see why it's so bad,
No,
right?
I do not.
Yeah.
That movie.
Yeah.
No, but you look at all these cheesy, horrible movies and stuff like that. I don't know why I can't talk tonight, but you look at all these things, and sometimes people are like, "Oh, that's actually a good movie." or this is so bad that it's good. You know, like, so the example I use for everybody thinks that it's bad and then you watch it and it's really good. The example I always use is Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim versus the World bombed in the theaters.
That is true.
And yet you watch it, it is such a good movie. It honors video gamers, it honors pop culture. It's just a fun movie, right? I love that movie. But it's one of those ones that because the audience it was intended for didn't understand it, nobody gave it a try. And now it's considered cult classic because it has that cult classic status, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So
pretty soon, classic won't mean anything because physical media is going down.
I actually like Scott Pilgrim though.
oh, it's a great movie. I love it.
It was actually pretty nice.
It's really
Yeah.
good, and they brought the whole cast back to do the Netflix adaptation.
And the Netflix adaptation does a lot of callbacks to it. There's so many things. Okay, so this is going to be my segue into anime. Okay, so we're done with Marvel stuff. This is my segue into anime. So we're going to talk Scott Pilgrim. I've talked about with the others on this podcast before. What are your favorite Easter eggs if you guys have watched it?
I haven't seen it in a while.
Favorite, which ones?
The Scott Pilgrim animation, the one that came out on Netflix back in November.
I didn't see it. Was it?
I didn't get a chance to watch the new one yet. I only watched the old movie and the old animation. I ain't watched the new one yet. You know what? I watched a little bit of it, but I can't really give a solid opinion on it because I literally only watched like 15 minutes of one episode because I didn't know that it came out yet.
Yeah.
I just so happened to see I believe it was either my cousin or my lady I seen watching it, and I was like, "Oh, it came out," and I watched a little bit of it, and it was like
it came out in November. The whole series came out in November. It was like 2 episodes for a couple of weeks. So I'm not going to spoil anything then. But there are some really
supposed to be like reverse, right?
No. So what it is Scott starts his adventure and things are wrong and things kind of get mucked up. I'm not going to tell you why.
Right.
So like it follows kind of the movie, but not. And they reference the movie. They reference the movie heavily. So young Neil writes a script for a Scott Pilgrim movie, and it's directed by Edgar Wrong. At one point, Scott is talking to his future self, and his future self is saying, "This is my song with my band." I'm not going to put any details because that's a big spoiler of the band.
And I think that's what he was watching.
The song they play is Kodakan no Hurricane, I think that's how it's pronounced, from Bubblegum Crash from the 1980s. Bubblegum Crisis. I was laughing so hard because that's one of my all-time favorite animes. Bubblegum Crisis and Crash, the original 80s version. Back when because the cast of the anime did their own music, so they did the music for the anime. They sang, they played the drums, like all the instruments and stuff like that. But the Easter eggs in there, they're like, oh, couldn't you imagine if I did this? Or, and they did bring the original cast back from the movie. All of them, every single member. So if you love the movie, it is 100% worth the watch. Definitely.
I'm gonna go make sure I watch that.
But
I'll try to watch.
For a new anime, I know, Kevin, you don't have a lot of time to watch anime. Have you watched anything in the last 2 seasons? Like, have you given anything a try? No.
I got stuck in the Law and Order SVU.
With how long that show's been going on, the fact that it's a 40-minute episode every episode, it's going to take you a while.
It's
I love it. I love it so bad.
No,
Kevin,
'cause
that's a good substitute.
because I was watching it and then I was seeing clips of it and I'm like, man, I remember when I left off. Let me see how Stabler came back. And I watched season 18, 19, 20. No, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I'm on 23 right now. I have so the other season, 24, and the new season, and I need to watch that one with Stabler, the criminal something.
Criminal Intent?
No, Criminal Intent finished its organized crime.
Okay.
I think.
See, I remember when the first one came out, and I loved the show. I watched it for I watched it for I want to say the first 20 years. I watched all of them, and then I cut cable and I haven't ever gone back to watch it. I don't get Hulu.
Oh, all right.
Hulu's not in Canada.
Or yeah, you
Yeah, I
got
remember you were saying
you have
that.
to know.
Oh man, I mean, I don't got Hulu myself.
Star
That's
Plus?
actually still kind of crazy.
We do have Disney Plus, but some shows aren't there due to rights and stuff like that. And some of the shows are on Crave, which is one of our Canadian services, and it's
I
garbage.
use Crave.
Yeah.
Ads.
Okay then. Well, I guess seeing as you and I had the Marvel conversation, I guess Jaquel and I get to have the anime conversation. So what do you okay? So I know you've probably watched probably a lot of anime this season. What are your two favorite
Yeah,
Dark
I
Horse
have.
animes? Animes that you
Dark?
didn't expect to be as good as you Dark Horse. So animes you didn't expect to be good that ended up being better than they are.
Uh,
Because we all know you're watching freaking Solo Leveling and
I would have to say the first one. I thought it was gonna be like every other little, I guess you could say, video game anime, Shangri-La Frontier.
yep,
That
that's
has actually them last couple episodes
oh, it's a
kind of blew
great
my mind. I was
it is a
like,
great gaming
okay,
isekai. It's great. I'm really impressed with
yeah,
it.
yeah. That was actually really it blew my mind. I'm not gonna lie. That the leading up, it made me rewatch the whole thing again just to watch how it led up to that fight. Because I'm like, okay, and it was animated really good. The
Yep,
color scheme, that's what really caught my eye. That color scheme was immaculate. Yeah.
it's really good.
That and
Uh,
it's really hard to pronounce it, but Frarian,
Oh,
I
Fearing?
pronounced it right. Yeah, that.
That
And
that won anime of the year last year, and we're into the second half of the first season. It is one of the best animes to come out in like the last 5 or 6 years. Easily. It is so
and it
good.
just stayed up there. Each episode has been like, what's
Proper
happening next? I
storytelling,
can't wait for the
proper
next one.
pacing, proper
Yeah,
character development, proper situations, proper travel time. Like it just
exactly.
you could not write a better paced story if you tried. It is just like if you like continuity, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And it does do time
And
jumps
and it's
when
the
it needs
first
to.
time it made me say was like not too much action, just the right amount of action. Yeah, I love it. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm actually happy they don't overload it with too much action like the rest of the shows
Yep.
sometimes. And like you said, the pacing has been,
Just
yeah, those
perfect.
two. It's like every week I'm looking forward to an episode. Seriously.
Yep.
And like you said, I have been watching a lot, but those two right there, besides, my faves, like Kingdom, for example,
Mhm.
I'll be biased if I said that because everybody hear me talking about that, you know. But
Solo leveling is one
yeah,
that you post a lot
stuff
about.
like that.
The solo leveling caught me off
Yeah,
guard
yeah.
because the first 2 episodes were shit. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch the third episode, and if this doesn't fucking change, I'm done. The third episode hit, and I'm like, I'll give it one more. And now it's starting to feel
Yeah,
like an established story.
yeah.
But those first 2 episodes, I was like, fuck off. Like it really was just not like in my mind, it's not as good as everyone says it is, but I can see why they like it. Right.
Oh, see, my thing was, it's like what I
uh,
liked about it was it because I read a little bit of the manhwa or however you pronounce it, and it's
Yep.
like you could tell they
uh,
I wouldn't say switched it up,
uh,
but
uh,
it's more so of the pacing. Like they slowed it down just a smidge bit, but
Yep.
it's not too far back. Then they like corrected their mistakes and got it to where it need to be. If that
Yep.
makes sense.
No,
So it's
and I agree.
like they noticed what they was doing, and they was like, "Nope, you know what? Let me go ahead and fix this real quick," because they only dropping 12 episodes.
Yep. So for me, my dark horses is really weird because I looked at the season. I'm like, most of this looks like just generic. I'm really, I get into this judgmental mindset so that I can never be let down, but I can always be surprised.
Set your expectations reasonably. Never go too high.
Exactly. So one of the ones that I really like is The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. That one,
Yeah, I started that. Yeah.
so much better than I thought it'd be. And what's her name? The green haired chick, the teacher. She's like the best character in that show. Not only do you have a teacher who's not old, not ancient, she's like a badass fuck. Like, imagine if Sakura had personality from the beginning of the anime, not at the end. That's exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
Another one that surprised me is it's called Sign of Affection. It's a romance anime. Now, if you can get past the main guy's face, like it I don't know who the hell designed that character, but like it takes a lot to get used to his face. The women look just like the normal anime girls, but the guy, it's weird. It's the nose and the lips. It just looks fucking weird. But the story itself is so believable that you could believe these two people are actually meeting for the first time in Japan and that they do all this shit. Like it is one of the most relatable romance animes I've seen in a long time. What else are we watching? Seventh Loop and Dr. Elise. They're both very similar premises. So Seventh Loop is a woman who every time she dies, she goes back to a certain point in her life. And then she has another like
I
five
remember you talking
five years
about
of
that.
yeah. That one is turning out to be really, really good. It's a character development anime. It's really, really good. Kevin, as a comic book fan, you'd really
Yeah, I love
appreciate the
the
fact
character
that
development.
that she has all these skills as a young woman, but because she's lived 7 lives for 5 years, she has 30 years of experience of living it like as a merchant for 5 years, as a warrior, as a maid, like so she
You know
has all
what?
this knowledge.
You know, I can relate to that because during the new reign of X-Men, sorry to go back to Marvel, one of the Tyrant has 10 lives, and
Yep.
she constantly dies. No, and
Yep.
she only has 1 life where she lives. But that sounds interesting. Send me a list of anime I need to watch. I will watch it.
Okay.
I'll watch it.
I
And also, this is on my watch list. You guys might have heard of it. Ninja Kumai. Kamui?
yep.
That's on my watch list.
That one just if that's the one I'm thinking of, that's the one that just came out. Yeah. Everyone's talking about that. I haven't watched it yet, but I didn't watch anime for like 10 days, so I spent the last 2 or 3 days catching up on everything. Now the other one, Dr.
That's
Elise,
what I need to do.
is another romance anime. It's kind of I want to call it a double isekai. So this woman marries this noble guy. She marries the prince or whatever. She becomes the empress and she's burned at the stake. We don't know why yet. And she dies. She then comes to our world. She has no parents, little kid in Japan, no parents, self-raised. Becomes a doctor, becomes like a super elite surgeon. Okay. This is all the first episode. She gets in a plane crash. She saves as many people as she can, and then dies from the fact that she actually has a puncture wound herself while she's been saving all these people as a doctor, and goes back to her original life before all this stuff happened when she was about to be announced as engaged to the prince, and wants to be a doctor. But she's got all the memories from being here in Japan for 27 years or 30 years, whatever. So that one, it's really well told, and the medical facts are very true because a lot of these animes, when they do stuff like that, they're very well researched. But it's kind of neat because there's a lot of really, really cool anime. There's I think the most lighthearted one I've watched this season is one called Level 99. I'm not the villain, but I'm the secret boss or something. I forget the actual title of it. Where she gets isekai'd into a game, and she's a character who's like a secret boss who's actually stronger than the end game boss. And she just doesn't. She's like, I don't want to die. I don't want to like fight these people. Like I'm just whatever. It's just a lighthearted, quirky anime. It's kind of neat. Oh, there's so many good animes.
Definitely check that one out.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, this it's shared.
Okay.
That's been really good.
And
Yeah.
just send me a website where all the animes being released.
Oh, just go to myanimelist.com.
Okay. I'm
Um,
just gonna bookmark my quotes.
yeah, I can actually pull up the link for you right now.
I just pulled it right out.
Okay. But yeah, like there's a lot of really good stuff. I mean, everybody's still playing the Mashal opening. That I tried watching the first couple episodes of that, and I've never been a Harry Potter fan. I've never been like I've never been a bodybuilding fan either. You combine them, and I'm still just as lost. But that opening is banger. Like I was really impressed with that one. Let's see here. What else do we got? Da, 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 da. Trying to think of.
Bro. But I would still like get this a lot of information actually.
Yeah.
Just
Oh.
Send me a list of your guys' animes that you'd recommend. I'll just
I'll send you a list of the new stuff that's coming out right now. And then as time goes on, if you ask me for a list, I'll give you like 700 animes and you won't even touch it. Like, I've been watching anime for 30 years now.
For a list and I get them a list and they just be like, oh, I ain't watching none of that yet. I'll be like,
a fun anime this season is Sasaki and Peeps. The premise of that one is middle-aged Japanese businessman adopts a pet. The pet is actually like a super mage from another world. He travels to that world, starts getting magical powers, comes to our world, discovers a Japanese undercover agency that fights paranormal people in our world, and then now has to fight people on both sides of the front. And all he wants is to just retire and just not work anymore. It's pretty funny.
right, I'll be tired too.
The best anime this season, and it's just this season, it's not a second season or part 2 or anything. The best anime this season has to be The Unwanted Undead Adventure. Okay? This anime has...
Oh, yeah. I remember you were telling me about that. Yep. And then
this
I
anime...
I think I watched the first 2 episodes.
This anime has...
Yeah, I'm about to binge some of that tonight as well.
It has Freerun level quality storytelling. It is so unbelievably good. And it's not an isekai, it's just a fantasy anime. And when I looked at it, I'm like, this looks interesting, but is it really good? I haven't missed an episode yet. It comes out, I watch it that day.
Oh yeah.
Like it is just, it's so good. Like that one is one that I think everybody should watch because it has a little bit of a romantic undertone, but it has a very heavy fantasy setting while still dealing with the heavy repercussions of what happened to him. So,
right.
For context, Kev, I can give you this because this is most of the first episode. Is he's an adventurer. He wants to be like the best adventurer you can be. He's bronze. You know, it's like I want to be a grandmaster in a video game, and I'm a bronze level player. He finds a room that nobody has found in this low level dungeon. He's like, oh, I can make money off this because nobody knows about this. I can sell this and makes money. So he walks in there. Unfortunately, there's a dragon in there. And it kills him. And then he wakes up and he's a skeleton. An undead skeleton. And it's his journey of also not only trying to still be the best adventurer, but also get some form of his humanity back. And the whole story, like it has comedy in it, has a little bit of romance in it. The fantasy aspect is beautiful. The animation is top notch. It's so good. It has like the color schemes, like what Dekel likes, like when he's outside in the world, it's all bright and colorful. When he's in the dungeon, it's damp and it's gritty. It is one of the best animes I have seen in quite a long time. That's not an isekai. And I know isekais are kind of two genres, but yep.
Okay.
It's that one, like 100%. Go and watch that one. If you're gonna watch any of them, that and Frieren are the two that you should probably watch for sure. Everything else is kind of where I
It's
left
like
it at.
Frein or something like that. Something like
Yep.
that. I don't know how to pronounce it. I can't spell it, but I just know
If
that
anything,
motherfucking show is worth it.
just, 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 yeah, just. I'm just gonna.
I see
I
I see
can't
you a
anything.
direct link to it from Crunchyroll. I got you. I know how to do that. I might not be able to spell it or pronounce it, but I can send you the link directly to it. I
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
So in regards to this season of anime, I'm actually really impressed. I'm really happy because the beginning of last year made me kind of go, really? This is all we're getting? Like, this is all just.
Yeah.
I don't know what last year was. Last year had some banger anime, don't get me wrong. But the first 2 seasons were very hit and miss. The only one I remember from the beginning of last year that I really enjoyed was Love After Conquering the World, which is it's like a Power Rangers esque kind of anime. It's actually hilarious. And that one's been canceled. It's not getting a second season, which I'm kind of upset about. But they're hoping that it's going to be renewed because people are trying to do it. But the Rangers are all named after like gelato. The main villainess, she's like super powerful. Everyone's terrified and scared of her. She's like the most scantily clad, shy little teenage girl you've ever fucking seen. Like, just if you watch it knowing that it's basically Sentai based or Power Rangers based, if you take it seriously, you're not watching it for the right reasons at all, because it's literally just a rom-com. That's all it is. Brightly colored, absolutely hilarious.
Seriously.
Exactly. So on that note, I want you guys to comment below, give some of your favorite animes for Kevin to watch. He is a comic book nerd, so that kind of vein of things, probably the best to recommend him. Not My Hero Academia. That is a stain on every comic book nerd's.
I'm gonna tell him not to even watch
Mm-mm.
or read any of that.
It's a fun background anime, but that's about it.
That's what I heard from later seasons.
Well, the thing is, it gets to a certain point, and then the story just kind of stops, and it takes a dive, and they stop worrying about the story. They actually start focusing on the people without actually building the characters.
Oh.
And then they try to do twists every 5 minutes, and I'm like,
no, I hate that.
So if you ever give it a try, you'll probably last till about the end of season 2, maybe season 3, and then you'll be like, enough of this shit. You won't even watch the other 3 seasons. They're on season 6 now, I think. It's just like,
and guess what? It took him 4 seasons to learn how to use his legs.
Wow, he learned how to use his legs instead of being a noodle. See, the first couple episodes make you think it's going to be a fun, regular shonen anime, and it's not. I was kind of following it up until I went to My Villain Academia, and I was just like, I'm fucking done. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of hate in the comments, because that, for some reason, is still one of the most popular animes out there.
Yeah, everybody always get mad at me when I say something. I don't care. If y'all want to call
it's way too
a kind-hearted boy trying to hold a suicidal, genocidal, fucking maniac hand who killed a lot of people already, be my guest.
Yep. Sorry, Kevin, you were going to say?
I'm going to let you stick to that, and I'm going to let you enjoy that. But just don't be mad at me when I talk my shit, because God damn it, I can't rock with that. I used to like that show, and I'm just still, I don't think I'm going to get over it. I just watched it go down like, nah. Because like you said, after season 2, I was finding stuff that was making me upset, but I still had hope. But after reading up until where I got right now, and I'm just like,
oh, kind of sounds like My Legend. Kind of sounds like My Legends of Tomorrow, and then I'm like, I give up.
No, My Legends of Tomorrow at least kind of tried to have an end goal. My Hero Academia doesn't. It's like if you took Dragon Ball, where you have Goku constantly getting more and more powerful and fighting gods and all that stuff, but instead of going off planet to find stronger entities, These are people who just randomly show up, who are stronger than the main bad guy who they've already beaten, but they can't lose to the main bad guy because he's actually the ultimate bad guy, but they've already beaten him.
No.
Yeah,
That's
no,
Oh, and not to mention, he split off into, he split into two people. The strongest person in a verse of heroes right now can't beat the main one, but I guess you could say the second strongest hero on the earth beat the split twin, and he's half dead, and he can't even do nothing but spit fire out, and he beat.
yep.
I'm not even gonna spoil nothing, but it's like
I'm not watching.
you're literally watching the strongest hero right now lose his powers and slowly get whooped on, while the I guess second or third strongest already technically dead. Like, he's literally technically dead. Like, he got plot armor. Don't get me wrong, he's alive right now because of a goddamn thread. But anywho, he's doing more work than somebody that's stronger than him. That's the problem.
Yep.
That's the problem, right?
Yeah,
I'm just like,
it's one of those ones that people continue to watch because they've stuck with it for so long. You know, I would almost call it a reverse One Piece, just because Kimmer's not here, where the beginning of One Piece was kind of shaky and then supposedly it gets better later on. Right. The whole reason I've never watched it is because everybody I've talked to, oh yeah, the best arc is like 200 episodes in. I'm not watching 200 episodes. Right. But having said that, My Hero Academia went from the best part where they're learning to be heroes, they're learning how to apply themselves to be heroes, then they get the chance to be heroes and they decide to be vigilantes. The fuck? That's
and trying to save the villains.
Yeah. Because one of the villains made them sad, and then one of the heroes pissed them off. It's oh my god, it's storytelling shattering at its finest. It's like watching Heroes on TV. First season, banger. Second season, what the hell happened?
Yeah,
Honestly, it's an anime version of that.
Oh my god! You know what's
They
funny? I started
literally
watching Heroes
just-
again. I gave up after watching this. I'm like, hey, I remember Heroes being such a good show. Season 2, I'm like, yeah, I remember it being good. Season 3, I'm like, yeah, nah. There's a reason I gave up.
Yep. To quote Sheldon Cooper on The Big Bang Theory, I don't like letting things go, but Heroes, they decline the quality every season so badly that none of us cared when it was canceled.
Yeah, I can hear when it's back.
And yet there are some good animes coming back, right? So Frierin's on the second half of season 1, right? We have Konosuba coming back. Now Konosuba is probably one of the funniest all-time best animes ever. Have you watched the movie yet?
Shit, I need to watch.
God damn it. God damn it. Okay. I'm gonna make sure I watch it for sure. I keep because it's so much stuff that I need to watch and read. You already know it's too much going on. Like,
Then create a list. Create a list and check yourself down.
That's why I just said send it to me so I can literally just write everything down. So I can like
it's
too much.
Okay. I'll create a little bit of list for you guys. You hear that? You guys are gonna hold me accountable. Comment down below if you hear us in the next episode.
Just send it to me. Just send it to me. I got you. I'm gonna hold myself accountable to watch it.
Just get
Because they thought I wasn't gonna watch Percy Jackson, and I watched the whole thing.
Oh yeah, good. Be like,
Yep.
I'll be. This is what I'll do. I'll watch.
I actually like Percy Jackson too.
I'll be
Like y'all said, I give it like a 7.5 to 8.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was nice.
Well, I'm gonna end it on there. Otherwise, I could talk recommendations until the end of time. We are a little bit over an hour, but thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully, we can shit on Kimmer in One Piece for him next time. And hopefully Les is back too. Unfortunately, he also had some arrangements and stuff. I did forget to mention that in the beginning. That's on me. I got all excited recording again. Probably why I can't remember half the names of the things that I wanted to talk about. But we will see you guys in the next one. Have fun and cheers.
Adios.